I wish a man would just provide for me. There is a man that should be providing for you. He should be providing for all of us. His name is Joe Biden.
I teach high school, and most days of the week I come to school in stilettos. I get to stand at about 6'6", and the reason why is so I can create an explicitly queer space for all of my students.
To help you turn that internalized shame into externalized anger directed at the men who deserve it, I'd like you to reflect on the fact that men forcing you to do unpaid domestic labor by pretending to be too stupid to do it themselves.
All right, guys, in a while, and you know we gotta bring it back to our roots and do some woke TikToks. Let's get into it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Yeah, we're getting back into woke TikToks today. I have a compilation of them, of all different subject matters, and we're gonna respond to some woke folks on the internet. Remember, we use the word folks. We don't want to misgender. Let's get into TikTok number 1. Oh my gosh, I already see Dear White Sis. And I can only imagine what comes next.
Dear White Sis folks, it's not the hot news you think it is that you canceled out your partner's Trump vote, had to cut out people because of the election results, or lost a bunch of followers for expressing your views. Many of us never had that privilege because we never had the ability to entertain bigoted folks in our lives in the first place. My mere existence as a disabled Asian trans person means these folks never had interest in joining my spaces, nor did I give them the ability to outside of direct violence and harassment. Instead of raving that you had to cut off your racist uncle, how about you actually call them in and educate them as someone who is close and has little to lose from engaging with them? But passing off that labor and expecting marginalized folks to directly educate people who are actively wishing them harm is not it. That labor can and should be yours. And I get that some folks are a lost cause, but not all of them are, and it doesn't hurt to try. So stop dating racists and transphobes. Start talking to the people in your life you do have influence with. Make your values so incredibly loud in every space you occupy that bigots won't assume you're on their side. Ditch the blue bracelets and self-serving gestures and pick up a mask and join a mutual aid group. There's no one action you can take that will ever make you a safe person to all marginalized folks. But you can actually start doing the work instead of just cutting off every family member or friend you disagree with and expecting the rest of us to deal with it. True community care means both calling out and calling in your community, so we can protect all of our communities, not just yours. Bye, friends.
Okay, my goodness. There was so much there so quickly. It's like a fire hose was just like put straight to my face. That is so wild. First of all, she says you're never gonna make yourself a safe enough person for all marginalized communities. That's a wild statement. She goes on to say, you need to, bring in your racist and transphobic family members and do the labor of teaching them not to be racist and transphobic. I guess there's part of a message that I could agree with there, that this whole cutting off family thing because they're toxic or because they have political views that are dissonant to yours is not it for me. And I think a lot of people are going to regret that. Now, as far as doing the labor to re-educate these people and have them unlearn and relearn, that is most definitely on you. If you're coming forward with a complaint about being marginalized or oppressed, specifically about an identity that you made up, you're gonna have to do the teaching on that one. And if people look at you and go, you know what, I don't agree with that whatsoever, you're also going to have to live with that as well, because a lot of the things that are brought up in these videos are very questionable and very skeptical about whether or not this person is founded in reality. But this is just woke speak for you. It's exactly how it sounds almost all the time. As somebody who is in a lot of woke learning circles for a very large part of my life, this just sums it up to a T. And no, it is your job. If you're going to make something up and lay it at the feet of people, you're probably going to have to explain it to them. This one says inspiration for horrible women. I hope we find out what a horrible woman is.
I'm a horrible woman and I make content for other horrible women, and if you need motivation to go out there and be difficult and non-compliant today, I'd like you to think about what it must be like to go through life getting out of doing things you don't want to do by pretending to be too stupid to do them, and not only having women then do it for you, but also having them continue to treat you with respect as if you haven't cultivated a reputation for yourself as being an incompetent with. If you're struggling with feelings of guilt about saying no, or you're feeling like you're not doing enough, I would like you to remember that there are men out there who have never once run their own dishwasher because they only had to pretend to be too stupid to do it once or twice, and as a result, the women in their house have been doing it every night for years. And if you're internalizing shame over being successfully manipulated and exploited by this strategy, I would like to remind you that part of the reason we call it weaponized incompetence instead of just being a useless idiot is because ridiculing men can be dangerous, and we all know that. To help you turn that internalized shame into externalized anger directed at the men who deserve it, I'd like you to reflect on the fact that men forcing you to do unpaid domestic labor by pretending to be too stupid to do it themselves only works because there are men who will force you to do unpaid domestic labor by using their fists. If you woke up feeling any vestiges of sympathy for men or residual impulse to rescue them from their own stupidity, I hope that my reframing that stupidity as the cruelty that it is going to help you feel better about going out there and being selfish and unhelpful all day long.
Okay. So this is a message. I get what she's saying. She's saying, I am just outright a horrible woman, meaning I'm selfish, I'm difficult, I'm angry, and I put that out on the world because that is what men do to women with their oppression, and they think it's a right to oppression that they are born with by virtue of being men. Now, interestingly enough, I can see an argument about weaponized incompetence. For those of you who don't know what weaponized incompetence is, I'll give you an example. You tell your husband, hey, can you do the dishes tonight? I'm really busy. I got to give the kids a bath, something like that. He goes and does the dishes and he puts them in the dishwasher in the most retarded way you've ever seen and just goes, oh, I don't know how to load the dishwasher. So instead of taking on the work of teaching this man how to load the dishwasher, he has weaponized his incompetence against you and you will do the dishes from now on. Now, it should be noted that weaponized incompetence is a tool or a manipulation tactic that anybody can use. It's not specifically for men. I could have easily give you an example of a woman doing exactly that. So clearly this woman is hell-bent against painting a picture about men in particular, and clearly she is convinced of patriarchal forces that are currently working against her. Now, do I think the antidote to dealing with somebody who is using weaponized incompetence as a manipulation tactic is to become angry and selfish and unhelpful? No. You call that person out, you make a decision as to whether or not you want to keep that person in your life or whether or not you think this person is going to step out of this manipulation tactic, and you go about your day. And hopefully you can go about your day being positive and optimistic and putting good energy out into the world. If you find that people are weaponizing incompetence around you and you are falling for it, of course it's on them for committing this bad act or bad behavior, but it's also on you for not standing up to yourself. And in standing up for yourself, you don't have to be unhappy, unhelpful, selfish, and angry. You can just be somebody who knows their worth, knows their value, lets that other person know, and then goes on about their day. Because if you're allowing somebody's actions to make you unhappy, selfish, unhelpful, they're ruining your life and you are allowing them to. When you're sitting in anger and hatred and this just lack of love for men or the people around you, guaranteed it's not making you a better person, it's not making you a healthier person, and it's not making your life fulfilling. But if you want to make it your goal to be a horrible woman, I guess you can do that. And she sort of puts together these options. If there's a man who's going to get these things done with his fist and there's a man who will get it done with weaponized incompetence, you have another option. You know, a normal, healthy, happy man who loves you and you love him and he wants to do these services for you and do them well, because that's the role of somebody who's in a committed relationship with a significant other. And there are men out there that exist who will do that. You might have to wade through some bad options in order to get there, but as long as you don't give them the time of day, you're gonna be fine. So you don't have to become a horrible woman. I mean, there are other options. It's not black and white as it's been shown to us in this video. Next, okay, this one says, when your ex-husband gets mad that you took your son to a drag show, so you make this your Christmas card photo. Oh, and it's your kid with a drag queen. Oh, okay. This actually gets into a much larger idea. And I hate that I have to go here with you, but I'm going to go here with you. Oftentimes you'll see when kids are being groomed, and yes, that's what it is, groomed into these woke leftist positions about gender and identity and gender dysphoria or drag queen story hour, whatever the case may be, you will so often find mothers behind these acts of grooming. And I think a lot of it does have to do with an underlying animosity towards men. She states it pretty explicitly here. Your ex-husband is mad about it? Well, what I'm gonna do to get back at my ex-husband is put my kid in front of men who like to dress up as women. So it's really no longer about the influence that you're having on your kid, although that's a clear side effect of your actions. It's more about digging the knife into your ex-husband, and you'll see so many women who do this. When we look at family court cases about children who want to transition genders, so often you'll find it is the wife and mother who is pushing this child to transition and the father who is fighting this act. And it makes you think, is this really about your child? Do you really think you're standing up for your child's identity? Or are you trying to get back at your, now ex-husband and trying to pat yourself on the back? Is this more about you and your own motivations than it is about your child and the influences, both external and internal, that they are receiving? I'll let y'all marinate on that. With this TikTok, it's very clear what this woman is trying to do. She's not trying to do something good for her child. She's not trying to open up their world and give them new experiences and have them learn. She's trying to get back at her ex-husband, and it's disgusting. Okay, next.
I've been getting a little too many compliments on my hair from men lately.
What? Okay, let's watch that one more time. First of all, I thought that was a wig.
I've been getting a little too many compliments on my hair from men lately.
No, I think homegirl just has very thick hair. Good for you. Well, you had. She had very thick hair. And now it's gone. Man, there seems to be a through line, at least in some of these things, that you're allowing the people that you dislike to really become the entire center of your world. You are now revolving around them. I think this is going to be pitched to other women and feminists as a way to de-center men. And the logic is, if men are giving me compliments about my hair and I'm attracting their eyes and their attention in this way, I'm going to cut off the thing that is bringing about that attention. But what you're really doing is allowing men to dictate your choices. Of course, this is in the negative sense, in that she's trying to repel them by cutting her hair, but what you've really done is succumb to male influence. So you're not decentering men in any way, shape, or form. You are allowing them to dictate your next move at every part of your life based on the attention that you get from them. A woman who is truly trying to decenter men may recognize that she's getting attention and compliments from them because of her hair, but she won't allow that to dictate her next move and her next action. It's sort of like in addiction, you know, people who are addicted to like smoking cigarettes or doing heroin, their day is punctuated by when they have access to this drug. Every next move becomes about putting yourself in a position to get this thing that you want. And you're doing that with male attention, or this idea that you don't want male attention. But go off, sis. Keep centering men. All right, let's move on.
I think women are mistaking wanting to be a trad wife and a stay-at-home girlfriend with just wanting universal basic income. Women are getting on this app and being like, I'm so tired from all this endless labor and minimal reward and these high costs of living. I wish a man would just provide for me. There is a man that should be providing for you. He should be providing for all of us. His name is Joe Biden.
Oh, God. Man, sometimes I wonder, are these videos truly indicative of where the general population stands on these issues? Or am I just hearing from a few people who are really, really on the outside, on the periphery of human thought? I hope it's the latter. I'm gonna give a little bit of my own theory here. I don't think this has anything to do with universal basic income. I think the reason that women want to be stay-at-home girlfriends or stay-at-home moms is because they like the actions that come with those titles. They get to be home instead of slaving away to a corporation. They are provided for and protected by, hopefully, a good man who is allowing them to not only pursue their passions from the home, outside of the home, but is giving them a family that they can care for. I think a lot of women come to the realization that it is far more powerful and fulfilling to be at home with children who you get to watch grow and develop on any given day, learn new things, see the world, to give a piece of yourself to someone else and dedicate your life to someone else, rather than dedicating your life to clocking in at a 9-to-5 for a corporation that could not care less about disposing of you. And I don't know how many stay-at-home moms this girl in particular has met, but I'm gonna venture to say if we did a general poll of stay-at-home moms that exist in this country right now and asked them whether or not they think Daddy Joe Biden should be providing for their entire lives through universal basic income, they're gonna say no to that one. Because in my opinion, the very government that's responsible for making it so difficult for women to be stay-at-home wives and mothers should probably not be responsible for carrying the weight of all of our resources and providing for us. All right, guys, it's been a long journey, but we have one more to go. Let's watch.
I teach high school, and most days of the week I come to school in stilettos. I get to stand at about 6'6", and the reason why is so I can create an explicitly queer space for all of my students. That way they know that this place is a place for them, by them, and because I never had one of those growing up. So, yeah. Bit of a beast.
I probably could have guessed based on the rainbow colors behind this man, because the rainbow has been appropriated. But we don't need to have that conversation right now. But he talks about wearing stilettos, saying he stands at 6'6". I don't know why you felt the need to share that with us, but go off, sis. I don't know. And saying this creates a safe space for children. I don't know that ever in my life, especially when I was a high schooler, I walked into a classroom and was like, is the male teacher wearing stilettos? If not, this doesn't feel like a safe space for me to for me to express myself. And in fact, I don't know a single kid that was thinking the same thing or anything of that nature. So I'm gonna venture to guess this is more about him and his own narcissistic wants and needs than it is anything to do with what children want or need in the classroom. Because what children really want and need in a classroom, we'll even erase want, what children need in a classroom is a teacher who, with pretty much neutrality, is going to come into the classroom, teach them what needs to be taught, and then go about their day and move on to the next class. That's what's necessary. But instead, this teacher's coming in and putting up rainbow flags and wearing stilettos, and he's making class and teaching more about himself than what it should be about, which is the subject matter and the students, and allowing the students to progress in learning that subject matter. And he really gives it away at the end when he says, because it's something I never had. Which means he's living vicariously through this experience that he's trying to give children. And maybe what he wanted in high school, which is probably not what he wanted in high school, but what he wants in adulthood is a male teacher with stilettos on, which that should tell you a lot about what you need to know about the inner workings of this man's brain. And now he's giving that to minors, high school students, as they are trying to go to school. And if there's one student that is looking for a high heel stilettoed male teacher in high school, does that really take the cake in comparison to the other 24 students who very well might be uncomfortable by the presence of this in their classroom? I guess to him it does, because creating one safe cringe space for a single student is worth allowing all of the other students to be uncomfortable and wonder, why is this person wearing stilettos? If I was in a classroom, I would want to be the most neutral space possible, because when students enter the classroom, they should be able to have their minds just free to learn the subject matter that you've brought them. If the student is spending a single second thinking about something that you very selfishly decided to bring into the classroom as a means of veering their attention off in another direction, you have failed as a teacher. I want to make that abundantly clear before we close out that video. If you are a parent sending your kid to school on any given day, I can't express to you how important it is that you know who's teaching your kids, because this is the sort of influence that is infiltrating public schools at a rate at which we've never seen before. And it's because a lot of these teachers are adults who feel like something was stolen from them in their childhood, and instead of becoming teachers to teach, they are trying to give what they feel like they've lost or didn't get in childhood to other kids. And it's full of ideology. It's full of their own traumas and their own wounds that they need to heal. And they're, in fact, in trying to heal them, giving wounds to your children. Cannot stress it enough. Guys, sorry we had to end on a little bit of a strict note on that last one, but I'm constantly thinking to myself, is the tide turning? Are we on the other end of this? And then I get videos like this that show me we are not. Not yet. Not yet, but it's keeping me here, so it's good to see ya. With that, drop your thoughts on these videos in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And if you disagree with anything I said in this video, duke it out, but do so respectfully. We encourage healthy debate on this channel. If you like this video, like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
yeah, you better.